people don't want to be in the same position as Dame Lillard.
Oh man.
You don't
Word
wanna
on
be
the
in the
streets is he's finally getting antsy and he wants to win now. There's a lot of rumors about him finally getting frustrated. I don't think he wants to be there totally anymore.
because he shot himself in the foot taking that fat contract.
Yeah.
It looked good, yeah, but you knew the team's ceiling was already scratched.
Yeah.
It's been scratched like 5 years ago.
You can't I don't understand why the Portland organization thinks you could keep 2'6", 2'6", 3 guards as your best player, and they're both not great defenders, and you think that's gonna carry you somewhere. They should have split up the duo. They're great together. They make it work because they're that great, but they have a ceiling. When your two best players are that small and their defensive liabilities mostly, they have a ceiling. Like
And
Dame needs to play with a number two who could do the defensive work for him, and he could focus on being Dame, which is why I wanted to switch gears into this guy. I mean, I'm not saying this is where he's going, but I'm curious to think, where do you think Ben Simmons would be a best fit at? Because I do think Portland is one of those teams, even though he has his issues, I think he fits next to Damian Lillard better because he could hide his defensive weakness. He could be the best defender on Portland. Portland's never had a defender of Ben Simmons' level that could guard multiple positions with that size. And I think him going over there can make them like at least a top 15 defense, which they never really are. I mean, possibly a top 10. So I'm looking at Portland, man, and I'm looking at the Ben Simmons situation, and I think, if I had to name 3 teams, Portland's in my top 3 as a great destination to get something out of Ben Simmons' career.
Is Golden State there too?
It's tricky because you're gonna have, in my mind, you're gonna have to sacrifice Draymond.
Why not?
But it doesn't sound like that they view it that way, which is tricky to me because they're like, what are you gonna play Ben as a small ball 5? I mean, that could work, but
He would have to play the same role as Dre.
that's what I'm saying. They're both that big point forward that could dribble, rebound, get assists. It's weird to me that they're saying Golden State's interested, but yet they're not saying Draymond's involved. It's really odd. But I'm gonna be honest. If you get Steph, Clay, the best shooting backcourt ever, with a passer and defender like Ben Simmons, I mean, that's really great use of him. Like, because you're not expecting him to, be the offensive carrier or the second option that they thought he was on Philly. You're kind of asking him to be the Draymond, the point forward, the defender. He could come in and be Draymond on steroids.
I got one more spot. I got one more spot for you. Dallas.
Dallas. I didn't think of that. Damn, that's kind of pretty good. If you're Philly, who do you ask for? KP and who else?
KP.
Because whoever does that is gonna have to take KP. That's their biggest name.
Yeah, I don't see
KP and Josh Richardson. Nah, Philly already had him. KP and Hardaway Jr. I don't know if they would give away Hardaway that easy.
I'm not giving away Hardaway.
He was the most reliable other guy for them this year.
Who's their one?
I do think KP could work alongside Joel Embiid better though. That would work a little bit better.
Yeah, Dallas might have a trading depth issue.
Let's say they are able to do it. You think Luka and Ben won't kind of clash? Their styles?
Nah, force Luka to be more of the scorer instead of being on the ball the whole time.
Yeah, I think that's the next step Luka needs to do. I'm not saying he can't, but so far he's shown that he could
He
just be
always needs the ball.
yeah, bro. I know we say LeBron's ball dominant and all those stars, but this dude has the ball every possession. Like, yeah, I'm afraid he doesn't know how to play off ball or move without the ball. And I think that's the next step for him. He needs to show that I don't always need to do X, Y, and Z. This dude does A to Z. Like, I think he'll get more rest on the court in games if he has someone to maybe share possessions with, like Ben Simmons.
But in order for that situation to work, Ben would have to up his scoring. He would have you gotta actually, in order for any of these situations to work.
Any of them, he's good. In order for any of this to really take off, I feel like there has to be a coach in place that really develops him, that really gets into him.
Get him to at least put up 20.
Here's a dark horse for you. And I'm not expecting it, but it's a dark horse because there's a lot of assets. They're going to have a lot of assets low key. They're going young and they're going to make a move or two. The Spurs. You think Ben Simmons, like, if there's a guy who knows how to develop jump shots, because I'm a Spurs guy, and I know the average NBA fan doesn't give Spurs the attention they deserve. But look at throughout the history of the Spurs. Tony Parker, broken jump shot when his first year or two. Our shooting coach, Chip England, Greg Popovich has hired him, and he's always been reliable. We got a shooting coach that helps people's shots get better. He improved Tony Parker's shot, made Tony Parker an elite mid-range shooter and a respectable three-point shooter. Kawhi Leonard, when he was in college, he shot 25% from three, was a non-shooter his first couple years. Chip England worked on his shot a couple years. Look at Kawhi Leonard now. Boris Diaw, a little bit similar. Wasn't that great of a shooter everywhere else. He had a all right year in Phoenix shooting-wise, but he got to the Spurs, solid shooter. We have to develop. Even Tim Duncan, like, he wasn't the greatest free throw shooter. They developed him into a 70% shooter. All that is the proof that the Spurs got the clout when it comes to giving you a respectable shot. And I take a look at Ben Simmons and I take a look at my Spurs, man. And look, I'm not begging for him. But if he ends up there, I trust Pop to use him to the best that he's ever been used before. What you think about that?
I would like it, but who do you get him to play with over there? Because it's someone like Ben, you got to have him with a certified type of scorer who can shoot. Someone who can get you big buckets, a lot of buckets.
Honestly, in a perfect world, it would take a lot to go the San Antonio Spurs way, but in a perfect world,
because you don't want him and DeRozan, you don't want that together.
No, I want DeRozan out. Yeah. I think a contender's gonna want DeRozan, and I don't blame them. Like, maybe a Utah, maybe a Clippers. If he's willing to accept to be like a super great six man, he could go to the Lakers or Clippers and really do well. But I don't think the Spurs fit him. The Spurs are going young. Yeah. We got young talents like DeJounte Murray, Derek White.
He's not really a shooter neither.
Yeah, and he clogs up the space for those guys. So if the Spurs could somehow play their cards right and get like Ben Simmons with John Collins, I know John Collins is a free agent, but the way he's playing for the Hawks, I have a feeling that they're going to do whatever it takes to keep him. But if we could get a John Collins with Ben Simmons, that would be unbelievable. Right. If we could get a Ben Simmons somehow and Kristaps Porzingis,
yeah.
Those are ideal situations for fit wise. Because I agree with you. If you get Ben Simmons, don't get me wrong. If you're the Spurs, it's still better than what you got. But in order to get it back into the playoffs, you need to pair him with somebody.
You got to pair him with someone. Yeah, you got to pair him with someone who's an automatic, sniper type guy, or automatic just catch, rhythm, shoot type guy. So it's tough. Yeah, John Collins would work great.
I honestly want John Collins more than I want Ben Simmons. He's a restricted free agent, I believe, which means like whatever teams throw at him, the Hawks can match the offer. But man, he could shoot the three, he could shoot the mid